haven't told you guys a story in a while. Story time, motherfucker. So back in January, I left my job working at Jimmy John's, and it wasn't anything to do with the job. You know, business was getting slow; they couldn't afford to pay me anymore. But I worked there for about 2 years, and I couldn't have asked for a better first job. It was fantastic. The manager was fun. The staff was great. The customers were all right. I had a good time working there. Even the music was all right sometimes. Right about now, the punk yo brother, check it out now. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a story about one time in which I worked there, and it was during my first few months of working there. It was about my third month into the job, and I was doing really well. I was getting paid. I was doing what everybody told me to do. I was making friends with the staff. I was having a good time working there, and the manager at the time, I'm going to call him R. Or, yeah, R's good, whatever. I'm going to call him R for his sake, even though I'm not a fan of him. I mean, at the time, he was all right as far as a manager. He didn't help out as much as the assistant manager, Dan, did. And I was good friends with Dan. Dan was all right. But R, he was kind of off all the time, you know. But, on the weekends, I used to work Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, and I had Monday and Tuesday off. Eventually, I changed that because I wasn't doing well in school at that time. But during the first few months, I used to come in early on Saturdays and help Art open the shop. And there's a lot of things you do. You get all the bread dough, you proof it, you stretch it out to make it nice, long 16-inch loaves of bread. You put it in the oven. You slice the vegetables. You put it in the container. You put the containers in the I forgot what they were called. Cold tables, yeah, cold tables. You take the vegetables in the cold table. You put the mayo and the meat in there. You get everything all set up, basically. You wash all the dishes. You make the tuna. It wasn't hard. It took a little bit of doing, but with working as a team was a whole part of the dynamic of working at Jimmy John's. So one morning, it was about 8 o'clock, and I was looking around the house for my cell phone. I usually came in around about 9:30, somewhere in there. I have to take a shit.
One poop later.
So where was I? That's why you don't take a shit in the middle of a video. Oh yeah, so we were preparing the shop. Anyway, that Saturday morning, I was looking around the house, and I couldn't find my cell phone anywhere. I had one of those little shitty slider feature phones. It was cheap, but, it served its purpose at the very least. Not much else aside from that. No mobile data, no online usage, none of that. And I couldn't find it. I figured, you know what? It's just going to be an ordinary Saturday. Why don't I just go into work without it? So I thought it was going to be an ordinary Saturday. So I'm driving over to work, and the Jimmy John's is located right across from this big giant super Walmart, which is where the mall used to be. He made way of the fucking mall for a dick-sucking super Walmart. What a bunch of bullshit that is. So yeah, as I'm pulling in to the parking lot, I look over. There are 3 state troopers parked outside of the Jimmy John's. And already alarms are going off my head. I'm like, what the fuck is going on over here, man? And I look over, and I see the manager R standing over, talking to the police officer. There's 3 cops standing there looking at him, trying to get the man to explain himself. And all their partners are standing over, on the side by all their police cars. And I pull over in front of the Jimmy John's. They're on the side. I walk in. Nothing is done. Nothing. There's a tray of bread that needs to be put in the proofer. There's no vegetables sliced, no meat ready to be put in the cold tables. Nothing. I have to do the entire store by myself. Not even the trash cans or the tea was set up yet. So I look over, and they're shoving my manager in the back of one of the cars. And I open up the door, and I walk out, and I said, pardon me, sir? Do you mind explaining to me what's going on with my manager? And they look over at me, and he looks over at his partner and goes, hey, can we tell him? No, sorry, son, we can't tell you. He looks over at my manager. Can you tell him? And he leans out the window and goes, hey, yeah, could you put the proofer on $200 for 22 minutes? Yeah, okay. And I'm like, yes, sir. And they drive off. And I'm like, oh, shit. What the fuck am I gonna do? I can't open the store by myself. I've only been working here 3 months. I'm instantly in panic mode. I'm everywhere at once. I'm trying to get all the cold tables installed. I'm trying to get the bread all sorted out and put in the proofer so it can be made. I'm everywhere at once. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be opening this store by myself. I go over to the phones for the deliveries and I try to dial the phones, but the phones wouldn't dial. You'd get 5 numbers in. The call cannot be completed as dialed. Fuck! So I was like, I'm out of options. I run into the back office and I get on the computer and I open up my email. And at the time, my email's registered under the name Colt Mason. Don't ask me why. I don't trust Google. Fuck you, Google. I get this email out. And it's this long email. It's like, this is Rhea from Jimmy John's. Ours not in the store. I'm opening this by myself. I need some help over here. If you're listening, please come in now. I send the email out. And it's about 9:30, almost 10. And I'm sitting there trying to get the bread all stretched out and put in the oven. And the assistant manager, Dan, walks in. And he's just kind of chilling out, checking his phone. He's got his little charger. And I look over at him, and I got a tray of bread in my hands, and he looks for, and I see his eyes kind of like looking around the store, looking for R, and I'm like, oh, well, thank God. He goes, Rio, where's R? I said, he got arrested instantly. He is pissed. He's like, what, that dumb son of a bitch? I couldn't say all the things he said. All right? It was ridiculous. All the things that came out of his mouth about R. Some things I would never hope to hear and never hope to have to repeat. And about that time, the owner of the store walks in, and he is even more pissed than Dan. And I'm already not. And, at the same time, the phones are ringing off the hook because it's still a new store. People are still like, okay, I got to go try the Jimmy John sometime. Maybe they can deliver to me. The phones are ringing off the hook. We got orders coming in from the internet. We are swamped instantly. The bread's not getting made at time, and eventually, one by one, people start showing up. This one guy shows up, and then another guy shows up, and we have pretty much the entire staff of the Jimmy John's trying to open this store. And it's gotten to the point, and the manager's yelling, if anyone here isn't working, get the hell out. All right? And, there's like 30 of us in there. We're scrambling to find things to do to get the store open more efficiently, but too many cooks can spoil the pot, evidently. Too many cooks can spoil the sandwich at this rate. After that whole ordeal, we get the store open an hour late. We're supposed to open at 11. We get the store open at noon. The manager, Dan, the owner, both of them not happy. I wasn't happy because I had to put up with it. And about 2 o'clock, after the rush dies down, our manager R returns, and he explains to the owner what happened. Evidently, he had, get this, an outstanding warrant for a traffic violation. He missed his court date, and they showed up at the Jimmy John's and arrested him to bring him in. He left me by myself in the Jimmy John's for that. That was some bullshit. And R comes over, he pats me on the shoulder while I'm making a sandwich. He says, sorry to leave you hanging there, buddy. And I'm like, don't worry. And that was, I don't think I'll ever have a work story to ever top that story. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're looking to work at a Jimmy John's is a fantastic place to work. The staff is great. Usually management's pretty cool about things. Corporate is a different story, but you know what? They're corporate. They're a bunch of dickweeds. What are you supposed to mean? Overall, moral of the story is work at Jimmy John's. It's a good time.